Hello and welcome to On the Corner, the official podcast, pitcherlist.com. I'm your host, Eric Samulski, and trapped in a box, it's Nick Pollack.
Hey, what's going on? What is happening? Yeah, I'm in a box today in Cape Cod. So, hi. Good to see you, Eric.
Hey. Yeah, this is like it's like a studio. I think I remember from last year. It's like
it's my dad's mini recording studio.
Yeah.
So it's good for podcasting, but
it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah,
it could be a sauna
view and everything, and it looks like a sauna. Absolutely, yeah. But it's the All-Star break. I hope you're having a good time. Are you taking any time off right now?
No. I don't have the luxury of taking time off with the day job covering baseball. And then also it's a down week. So I'm not putting out my typical Wednesday article on pitch mix analysis because I'm redoing my starting pitcher rankings from the regular season. So it's I'm still getting the content up there, and we're still doing James Shiano and I still did our Q&A today. So we're still getting all that stuff out. And I will say, and we'll get into the rankings, but I've been doing a lot of news and updating stuff for the NBC Sports site this year. And so far this week has been kind of fun of getting back into analyzing numbers and doing a little bit more of the analytical content, which I haven't been able to do as much of during this season. And I think maybe that made my fantasy performance worse this year than in the years past, but we'll have to figure that out.
Oh man. So it's the break. And if you notice, my voice is a little off. On Thursday night, I was at the Mariners game. Sorry, the Yankee game as they hosted the Mariners with Brian Wu almost throwing a no-hitter for my nephews. And I was like, they've never been to a Yankee game.
Yeah.
And the entire family, there's 5 of them, right? 3 boys. And they all were decked out in Yankees jerseys and everything. My oldest nephew had Judge on the back. And it's 7 innings of just the Yankees losing.
Yeah.
And so finally when the energy started picking up, I lost my voice and everything.
Nice.
And so I really apologize. I didn't have a plus pitch on Friday, but if you were there in the morning stream, oh my gosh, I was doing the NPR stream just beautiful. Like this the entire time.
And isn't it like Tiny Desk or whatever, Tiny Desk concert? You're doing a little Tiny Desk podcast right now.
Absolutely. So I apologize I didn't put out a first pitch today, but I figure I can do it tomorrow. And we have the rankings that are going to be dropping on Tuesday morning on the 15th. But for those who are watching on YouTube, we do this on YouTube, by the way, video podcast every week on the Corner podcast YouTube channel. And of course, the Pitcher List one, which is over 10,000 subs now. Thank you all so much for subbing to that channel. You can see the list. So you're actually getting an early look at it right now if you are watching live on YouTube. So make sure you do that. You get that extra little look. Always, of course, if you are a Discord member, you are going to get the look of the list before it's published on the site as well. But we got to jump into it because you have a hard out in about an hour. And we're going to make sure we stick
to it. Do you want to mention the meetup that you messaged about earlier? Is that something?
Yes, there is a meetup, an Ottoneu meetup. I believe it could be the 26th or so. I don't remember. Is it August?
August 2nd.
August 2nd. Oh, thank you so much. Saturday at the Other Half Brewery in Brooklyn. It's going to be about 3:30. I'll be there. Niv Shah will be there. Dave, oh my God, David, my Appleman, geez, the founder of Fangraphs will be there.
Which Other Half Brewery? It's important to
specify. It's a good one. It's the one near Park Slope and Gowanus and Carroll Gardens and Red Hook, not the one in Williamsburg,
not the one in Domino Park.
No, do not go there.
Yes,
come on by. It's gonna be a really fun time.
I will try to be there. Middle of the day on weekends is a little tough with the little guy, but I will do my best. So as Nick mentioned, he is not in the city right now. He's out in Cape Cod. And whenever I think of Cape Cod, I think of the potato chip dipped in a little French onion dip. It's been a classic staple snack from my family gatherings as a kid, and then also now my wife's family.
Oh wow.
And so we're gonna go snack foods. We may have done this last year, years past, not like a truly original category, but I think in honor of Cape Cod, we're gonna go with snacks.
Okay, let's do it.
Also, my nickname was Big Snack because
really
I do like to snack a lot, and my son is Little Snack, and so we're going snacks.
I just want to preface this. I am actually not a snacker.
That's okay. You
And
know what? I could tell by your physique, you're not a snacker.
I think it's you essentially really have 2 full meals a day. You have like essentially midday and then you have evening.
That's
And if you can
ridiculous.
just do that, then you're
I
fine.
have rid myself of snacks by going to 5 small meals a day is how I do it without snacking. But
There you
yeah.
go.
So we're gonna dive in. Tier 1, starting pitcher number 1, Tarek Skubal. Number 2, Zach Wheeler. Number 3, Garrett Crochet. Number 4, Paul Skeens. Number 5, Jacob deGrom. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is one that I've recently jumped into, which is the granola bites.
Oh, okay.
They are so good, and you just got to make sure you find one that isn't just like 10 grams of sugar every single time.
Sure.
But oh my gosh, it's just everything you want in one little package, and it doesn't make you feel horrible after eating it. It's great.
I do have granola bites. I do have granola in general. Granola, just a little, granola yogurt. Granola and yogurt is tremendous. Granola and milk, like that's fine. It's all you need, man. Really
Yeah.
good. These guys have been pretty consistent throughout. Props to them. Props to Jacob deGrom we're still here. All-star break, baby. We are still here.
Jeff Passan said, "Oh my gosh, Skubal, Wheeler, Crochet, Skeens, they're the 4 faces of Mount Rushmore of pitching right now." And it's just like, what? Jacob deGrom is throwing 98 plus and doing everything deGrom. What is this?
Yeah,
unbelievable.
And I know people are just like, they keep expecting, the other shoe to drop, the arm to get hurt, whatever. But I don't know, man. He's still here. He's still doing it. And I think we just got to keep riding the wave. So
I think the understanding was under 100 innings entering this season was the under 50% chance of it being above that.
Still remember back at First Pitch Arizona, you had him like 6 and I had him 8, I think. And
we got, well, I mean, there was the whole Crochet thing too. He was at 51 in ADP at First Pitch Arizona, and it was rabble. But there are other things I had where it was rabble, and it should have been.
And it should have been rabble. Yeah, and I waited to draft starting pitchers, and I didn't get either Crochet or deGrom in a lot of places, and so be it. I did get a lot of your starting pitcher number 6, who starts tier number 2. It's Max Fried. Number 7, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Number 8, Brian Woo. Number 9, Joe Ryan. Number 10, Hunter Brown. Number 11, Robbie Ray. Number 12, Carlos Rodon. Number 13, Framber Valdez. And number 14, Logan Webb. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
So this one is going to be Cool Ranch Doritos.
Okay.
And funny story, my fiance had never had Doritos until about a year ago.
Did you start with regular Doritos at least?
Well, hold on. So we went to a party and it had 2 bowls. Okay. One was of nacho cheese and one was Cool Ranch.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh man, these are great." And she goes, "What is this?" I'm like, "What?" Like, she just didn't have that. It's just it wasn't there when she was a kid, and she never surrounded herself in the tech world with this stuff, right? Sure. So I was like, "Oh my, okay, have a bite." And now it's like Cool Ranch is just whenever there's a party or something, there's just always a bag of Cool Ranch just for her to make sure that she has that. And it's just so good.
I like them both. I'm more of a nacho cheese Doritos guy, but I like them both.
Okay. That says a lot about you, Eric.
I'm a traditionalist. It should say I love cheese, Nick. I just love cheese in pretty much all shapes or form. It's a family thing. My childhood dog, anytime you opened the drawer in the fridge that had the cheese, she would run from any part of the house and just sit by the fridge and wait for you to give her cheese. And it just fit perfectly with our family. That's just amazing. Who we are. Not a lot of a couple one spot up, one spot down here. You mentioned that Brian Wu performance. It was great. Hunter Brown, people are like waiting on talking about the Hunter Brown regression. I think, correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like this is a little bit of what you've been saying about Hunter Brown, which is like, he's very talented, but he doesn't have this is my pitch. And so some starts are going to be a little bit more inconsistent than you'd like to see, but he's obviously incredibly talented. And this is not like the sign of a cliff. It's just why he's not in tier 1 or why he's not, Fried or whatever.
Right. Also should know that Fried is not in tier 1 anymore.
Yes.
I think also the blister question is involved in that, but really he's just not the strikeout guy as the other 5 are. And it's pretty simple. I might go back on Woo over Ryan. But with Hunter Brown, 4-seamer is still being that pitch. It just wasn't as good lately. And 10 runs in 2 games is allowed as a starter. It's not really a death sentence or anything like that. I'm not going to do anything major. But yeah, if it is a trend moving forward, he just doesn't have enough in the secondary department to supply or the proper complement to those fastballs, then yeah, that is a problem. But otherwise, yeah, this is pretty much unchanged, save for Logan Webb, who's not getting his sweeper and slider, or really his sweeper and cutter involved and effective as he has previously. The sweeper did come back a little bit in the last start, but not really at the point where it was just a 4-pitch even split of those pitches. And I want that again. We've seen Logan Webb having turned too much into sinker changeup lately. So that is why I'm a little more concerned about Webb than, say, Valdez, who has his curveball working. Carlos Rodon just went 8 innings strong. Robbie Ray's looking great. All that kind of stuff.
Yep. I get that. I'm trying to limit all of my commentary, or pick and choose my spots so we can get through this in an hour. So we're going to move to tier number 3 because we got to talk about a return from the IL, and that starts with number 15, Tyler Glasnow. Number 16, Ranger Suarez. Number 17, Logan Gilbert. Number 18, Jacob Mizorowski. And number 19, Mackenzie Gore. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is Cheetos, which is an ace. It's like the best snack, except for how it just gets your fingers dirty and like it messes with you. And you can't just Cheeto hands are a thing. That's a big knock. Yeah. It's a big knock. And it's like, you are an ace, but why is there this thing that bothers me?
Sure.
And really, I'll be honest, eating them with a fork is the way to go, or a spoon, whatever it is. Just chopsticks. Do it. It just makes your life so much better.
Just get yourself a personal bowl and just put your face in the bowl.
Just be a pig about it. Yeah, Tyler Glasnow is back, and it seems like he should just be in that ace tier already. The rule of thumb is always 3 starts, and if you're looking like that ace for 3, then you jump up, and he could be into tier 1 when that happens. It just depends on how it goes. And Logan Gilbert is weird. He's not commanding as well as he should. He just got 9 strikeouts in a game that his slider was not nearly as good as it has been. His 4-seamer wasn't as good as it should be. Just 1 whiff on that. It's very strange to me. So I have him still here. But he's not. So
I have Logan Gilbert in my aces tier right now, just because I'm doing my rankings for the rest of the season because I don't want to do this again. You do it every week. Logan Gilbert is still second in all of baseball of starters who have made at least have pitched at least 30 innings this year. So the bar is really low, but second in baseball in K per 9, second in baseball in Sierra, still got a 105 whip. Like, I think I get why you have him where you do. I think if you're taking the long view, I do believe he ends up probably back inside that top 10, but it might not be the first start out of the break. It might not be the second start out of the break. It might, take a little bit of time, but I think that the swing and miss is still pretty much there. And I don't see any glaring red flags. I see the inconsistency you're talking about, but I think people shouldn't be worried long-term, or, for the rest of the season, at least.
Right. I also, I probably will swap Logan Gilbert and Ranger Suarez before I publish this, just so we're clear. Yeah.
And Suarez is another one for me. Like, again, doing my rankings the rest of the season, I put him more with like some of the guys who are in the next tier, who I think of as kind of like really good, like SP2s, because I think that's where he settles. We've kind of seen him take steps back in the second half before, and I think he eventually settles among, 2 left-handers in particular who are in the next tier. But it's hard to argue based on his current results that he shouldn't be where he is. But if you ask me right now, would I rather have Jacob Mizorowski or Ranger Suarez on my team? I find it hard to say Ranger Suarez.
Yeah, I know. I was actually just even thinking that of like, is it Mizorowski at 17 or Goretz at 18?
Right. The Gore thing is kind of the same as the Ranger Suarez thing, right? It's like, we have seen this movie before and we know how the second half plays out, except maybe that's not how the second half plays out.
Right. So, what is interesting with Gore is that he has a sub 3 whip, but a 124, a sub 3 ERA and a 124 whip over his since like the start of May, essentially. And he hasn't quite turned the corner. He's only had, I think it was 6 straight games or maybe 7 without a game above 7 strikeouts. It's like, hold on, Gore, you're supposed to be that guy, and his 4-seamer command mixed with the changeup and curve against righties has not been as pristine as it was in the first month or two. So I even was tempted to put him into tier 5 as that cherry bomb kind of guy, but honestly, he hasn't been as volatile as those. So I had to keep him inside of tier 3 for now.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I want to talk about starting pitcher number 20, so we'll get into tier number 4. Starts with number 20, Nathan Eovaldi. Number 21, Shota Imanaga. Number 22, George Kirby. Number 23, Christopher Sanchez. Number 24, Chris Bubich. Number 25, Seth Lugo. Number 26, Kodai Senga. Number 27, Sonny Gray. And number 28, Andrew Abbott. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
I'm going to go with Boom Chicka Kettle Corn.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that kettle corn to me, I mean, it's always a little bit too sugary, and like, okay, maybe I'm pushing myself if I'm indulging, but my gosh, it's so good. It's just so good, and you can just eat so much of it so quickly.
I'm not a huge kettle corn guy,
so
but
good.
I do like the boom. There's like a Boom Chicka flavor that I do like. I'd have to remind
The thing
myself.
is, I've turned the corner on popcorn because I actually don't really love it so much because it gets in your teeth and it's really annoying to,
It also reminds me to floss. So that's why popcorn is really a twofold snack, because it tastes great. Threefold.
It really just
tastes
improves
great.
your health.
It's really not that unhealthy. Like if you needed a late night snack, it's really not that bad. Just don't like put it tons of butter and whatever on top
that's
of
the thing.
it.
Is it pre-salted?
Right.
Is it kettle corn? Is it whatever?
We made the change to like we buy popcorn kernels and we pop our own popcorn.
Yes. I got us the amazing popper that is a silicone thing that flats down. It's so good.
That's what we have. It's great. Yeah. You can control how much oil and salt and whatever you put on it. And then it reminds me of like, I should floss tonight. And then so it improves my dental health. And so thank you, popcorn. It's just a great snack. Nathan Eovaldi up at 20. There've been a lot of people recently because of his last start that are like, nobody's talking about how good Nathan Eovaldi has been. And it's kind of true. And you hinted at this earlier in the year, like in the past, it was always like Nathan Eovaldi goes as his fastball goes. And when the velocity dips, Eovaldi's performance dips. And that's really not who he is right now as he is aging into a different type of pitcher.
Yeah, he's all about the curveball now. It's really a 4-pitch mix of splitter, cutter, 4-seamer, and curveball. And this curveball has really stepped forward. And it's fantastic. He's a command guy. He's the premier Holly. He's not going to be your 30% strikeout guy. That's fine, but he's very dependable. And even coming back from the IL, we were thinking, okay, this is his rehab. It's going to take a moment for him to get there. By his second start, he already had 5 innings and a win. So it's pretty great. You want Eovaldi on your teams, and I feel like he's turning into an ace all of a sudden because it's a sub-2 ERA. It's pretty remarkable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've always kind of been a fan of his. And it'll be interesting to see if he stays, if he goes at the deadline. It'll be interesting to see if the health continues. That is always something with Eovaldi, but it's been a really good first half for him. Senga back from the IL. He has been good whenever he's been on the mound this year, basically.
Right. So I really liked in the last ones. Of course, we got more strikeouts back, and he didn't get many in the other one because the splitter just found too much of the zone. And then against the Yankees, he was able to make it more of a 50% zone rate pitch instead of a 60% plus, maybe 70% on the previous one. And the sweeper also coming inside to right-handers with good 4-seamer command. This looks like a good Shota. And I was tempted even to put him into tier 3, but I think ultimately he's not, again, that 27 to 30% strikeout rate guy. He's more like a 24, 25, just a solid pitcher that you are going to depend on. So this is, these are your Hollies who are just, very good SP2s, not really going to be that SP1.
Yeah. Talk to me about Andrew Abbott. I still can't get here with him. Like I told you, I did a vomit draft of my rankings where I've only gone through like the top 60 so far, but I just was like throwing together general tiers. And right now I have Abbott in like the 40s. I just can't, maybe it's my own personal bias, but I just can't get up to like really trusting him as a starter.
Sure. So this year, what's really interesting is that he does get whiffs with all of his pitches a little bit. Like none of them are under a 10% swing striker, but none of them are exaggerated above 15%. But when Abbott is on, It's changeups down away to right-handers. Four-seamer stays upstairs, and it does well there at 92 to 93. It all just kind of works well together. He has this curveball. He has a sweeper that he mixes in there. Sometimes even the cutter shows up. It's all just working. And while I don't quite buy it in the same way that you do, it's also just present. It's also just consistently there for you. So I debate on this a lot of like, should I, I'm not just a guy that says, okay, results mean nothing.
Right.
Results mean something. And it can be, I'm missing something about this. And I think the command of Andrew Abbott, and I also think that being a lefty makes the general stuff better than being a righty. And being a change of focus, as we've seen constantly, is very good as well, and is just tougher for right-handers to deal with. So comparing it to, say, I'm looking at tier 5, and that's a little bit more volatile. You have tier 6 who are also the Hollies, but Andrew Abbott's just been so consistent, save for his last game, that he feels, like he's still a step above those tier 6 Hollies, and he's more secure than those guys in tier 5.
I get all that. And Sonny Gray, again, just been kind of rock solid.
Yep.
I like him in the tier with some of these guys, like the Eovaldis of the world, where it's like, I don't think you think they're an ace, but you're getting really good production out of that.
Exactly. That's your Holly.
We've got an volatile upside tier next in tier number 5, but we'll get to those guys after this break. So tier number 5 starts with number 29, Freddie Peralta, number 30, Nick Pivetta, number 31, Spencer Strider, number 32, Dylan Cease, number 33, Yuri Perez, number 34, Jesus Luzardo, number 35, Brandon Woodruff, number 36, Chase Burns, and number 37, Jack Flaherty. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is the snack that is banned in my apartment because it's so good and so addictive that I just can't be around it. And that's an Oreo. You just can't. I can't have it anywhere near me. So yeah, this is the Oreo tier because you know how great it is. And also it's very destructive.
Very destructive. I like that. Yeah, Pivetta. I mean, Pivetta jumps still. A lot of it could be that, I know you mentioned it and I've kind of harped on it because it's such a wild stat that he's never finished with an ERA under 4. And it hasn't all just been Boston, right? He was in Philly before that.
Oh, yeah.
But it might be the ballpark might get him under there. I mean, I think that there is, first of all, we still have a second half left and he could very well, he's had really strong stretches before, but the ballpark has curtailed some of the home run issues, and that could be one of the things that gets him, back to, or not back to, that gets him finally under that 4 ERA mark.
Right. I mean, he's just been doing so well. And I can only say, hey, he's going to regress those home runs, for a certain amount of time until it becomes all of a sudden in the middle of September. I'm like, no, guys, he's going to regress. It's okay. You don't want to go for him. So here we are, midway through July, and yeah, you're not going to take other arms who have gone up and down already over someone like Pivetta, who has just been consistently great for you. The last start he had a phenomenal outing with his sweeper to right-handers. The left-handed approach of four-seamer and curve is great. So yeah, power to him. It might be part of the dead ball helping him a bit here, or the dead end ball that we've seen for this season. You never know if it changes mid-season. Also, when it comes to the Major League Baseball, it's always weird. And at this point, it's about a 1 homer per 9 and not the 1.5 plus that we've seen for Pivetta in the past. I believe it's 11 points down on his homer per fly ball rate from about 25% to about 14%, which is huge.
Yes.
That's something that year to year is very noisy. Could be even season, game to game, and first half to second half can be noisy as well, but it's the first time we've really seen it this low for as long as he's had it. So I have to give some credence to that.
And then we got to talk about Yuri.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, Yuri Perez is like a really interesting example of, we've talked a lot this year about whether we were a little too bullish on some of the guys coming back from injury, right? The Sandy Alcantaras of the world, trying to think of
McClanahan, you could
who,
say.
like
Yeah.
Spencer Strider, who, you and I had reservations about, but I think as a whole, people were like, when he's on the mound, he's going to be really good. And we are I almost was like, okay, I need to dial back my expectations for Yuri Perez because he's going to be inconsistent. It's going to be rough. And the first few starts were inconsistent. They were rough. The last 3 starts have been unreal. Maybe it continues. I mean, I think that's where I got myself in trouble before, is like thinking, okay, well, clearly now he's shaken the rust and he's now going to move forward as this version of himself that we expected him to be. And I think you kind of have to hope he does, because what we've seen the last 3 starts is just really, really strong work.
No, it's amazing. What we've seen the last 3 outings are 18 innings of 1 earned run ball with 21 strikeouts in that time. And yeah, it was against the Twins in Cincinnati and against Baltimore and Camden. And not the toughest of matchups for Yuri Perez, but the 4-seamer has overwhelmed. And that's really the crucial element for him, because we talk about Spencer Strider, and the slider is really the one that's pulling him forward right now, where it's not the 4-seamer.
Mm-hmm.
While having a foundational 4-seamer that is fantastic and can do all the work for the most part is much better than a breaking ball doing that. So Yuri still has to figure out the slider, actually, I think there's a sweeper at times now too, and the curveball to find what is my reliable secondary. What is the one that I know I'll have consistently, and what's the one that I'm hoping gets better? There was even actually like 4 changeups in the last start yesterday. I think it was yesterday, 2 days ago. It was yesterday with 2 changeups looking good finally. He's like had so many bad changeups. It's like, okay, cool. You're still trying, and maybe they might be good. But with Erie, yeah, he has the leash now. The 4-seamer is looking incredible. Expect the slider and curve to return closer to their 20% plus swing strike rate marks of old. And yeah, that's a reliable arm. Over 80 pitches in each of his last 5 games as well. We've seen him turn the corner clearly after those first 4. And I kind of want to bucket him with Brandon Woodruff, who also in his first 2 starts, fantastic 4-seamer.
Mm-hmm.
He's really pulled him along. And I'm just thinking, yeah, you're not going to not start Woodruff at this point, even though the fastball velocity was a little bit lower in that second one.
Right.
And I could be a little too bullish with this ranking at 35. That said, you look at everyone underneath, and yes, there are safer arms in tier 6, but the ceiling, I think, is higher for Woodruff, who is succeeding with the fastball he has now, and we think that everything else is just going to fall into place over time.
Yeah, I agree with you. We said this after that first debut that like felt like he's a type of veteran that can learn how to pitch away from, to adjust from the injury. And you're not going to get the strikeout upside of old, but you're going to get something that's really strong. I have him. I don't have him only 5 spots below you right now in my rough estimate. It's like in a different tier per se, but kind of with the same range of dudes, like the Flaherty's, and I have him in kind of like a Pepio area.
Sure.
You have Pepio like a few spots lower, but it's like the same general, idea of like, I don't feel I can't tell you this guy is safe at this level. I also can't tell you this guy is an ace, but I can tell you this guy is pretty good and probably going to be pretty good most starts out there.
Yeah, I could see myself absolutely putting Woodruff in tier 7 with Pepio, Shane Baz, and Darvish, and so on. And it's not really that big of a gap, really. Jack Flaherty might belong down there too, so I'm all right with that move that you did. But I mean, there's Chase Burns in here too. There's also Dylan.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. What your thoughts are on him, just generally speaking, after these first few starts.
Well, I mean, like he's the same as Strider and Cease. They're all 4-seamer slider guys with a hard throwing fastball and a really good slider, and it's hard not to just bucket them together. They do what they do. Cease is going to be better than he has been. I mean, seriously, guys, that he's not going to have the same home run rates that he has now, and he's been very unlucky when it comes to hits too. It's just, it's kind of bonkers at this point. But yeah, with Strider, we don't like the fastball exactly as much, but he's still getting enough with the slider involved too that it's fine. Jesus Luzardo's in here, and generally he's great, save for a couple blips here and there, and whatever. We just kind of roll with that one too. So this entire tier is, yeah, you're just gonna start him, and they're gonna give you strikeouts, and we're gonna see you in October when we talk about next year.
Yeah, I like that. Next tier, I have this next guy. I'm curious how you have all these guys ranked together. So we'll get to there. It starts with number 38, Nick Lodolo, number 39, Matthew Boyd, number 40, Noah Cameron, number 41, Merrill Kelly. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
So this one is your string cheese, Eric. It's just always there. It's not necessarily the most fulfilling. You're not going to really go like seek it out. You know, I actually don't have string cheese in my fridge or whatever, but just put any sort of cheese that you want to have, maybe cheese and crackers. That's just like, you know what? It's there, good. That'll work. You know, you want to see that good charcuterie board. That's what it really is, not the strings. Yeah, charcuterie board.
Charcuterie board.
Yeah.
Okay. I have Boyd, Cameron. I understand the logic between Boyd, Cameron, and Kelly all being in the same tier.
Oh,
I have like Lodolo closer to the like Nick Pivetta, Freddie Peralta, Jesus Luzardo type of like, this guy could be a real asset for your strikeout rate. And there's going to be some games of like utter dominance, but there's that wobbliness, that volatility. I think his upside is probably higher than the other guys in this tier.
So Nick Lodolo hasn't had 7 strikeouts since May 19th.
I know. And that's where I'm like, I think of him as a pitcher more than the results. But yes, I get that.
He's literally had 2 games of 7 strikeouts, 1 game of 9, and that's all that he's had above 6 the entire year.
Do you think that's because of something he's doing differently this year, or just
he's not? What's happening is he's not as good getting strikeouts to right-handers with a curveball. He's really failing at that one. I think last time I checked, it was like a 20% put away rate with a curveball to righties before, and now it's like 16%, something along those lines. And that is, you know, that's the difference maker, right? It's 17 or 19% now with 29% last year. Is the issue there? So I don't know if he's really going to get that back. I'm not going to bank on it. Right. But I am going to say that I really like the Lodolo's feel for his changeup as they're down away to right-handers. I like that he has his four-seamer generally upstairs, and the curveball is effective. And this is the most consistent season he's had as far as just pitching every 5 days. Right. And I love that. And I love that he's theoretically going to develop more. And I understand that for you in your rankings. But all 4 of these are your consistent Hollies. These are your quality starts, 6 innings. You don't expect a 25% strikeout rate. And you're cool with it, but they're not quite at the level of those tier 4 ones.
Yeah, I get that. That makes some sense. You know, maybe just living off the past a little bit with Nick Lodolo there. Some interesting names here in tier number 7 starts at number 42. Ryan Pepio, number 43, Shane Baz. Number 44, Lucas Giolito. Number 45, Yu Darvish. Number 46, Will Warren. Number 47, Cam Schlittler. Number 48, Grant Holmes. Number 49, Sean Manaea. Number 50, Luis Castillo. And number 51, Emmett Sheehan. What's this tier called, and why is it called that?
I'm going to say this is the ice cream tier. You know, you're just like, hey, I want a little snack of in between. Let's just go get some ice cream. Something like that. Okay. And sometimes when you get ice cream, you don't know what flavors are going to be there. And also, if you don't know if it's a good decision, because maybe you're doing this too close to dinner, you might lose your appetite. But boy, can it be sweet.
Yeah, I do a lot more ice cream now with the toddler, and I really do. It's you know, I do it for him. He wants the ice cream. I don't want him to eat all of it, so then I have to eat some of it. It's just, you know, it's a terrible.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You have to eat ice cream, Eric. Oh gosh,
it's brutal.
The pain.
Well, you're a rail thin Paul Sporer build kind of guy, so it's a little bit of a different situation for you. Let's talk about that Sean Manaea debut. Obviously, you know, we knew coming in he was going to piggyback with Clay Holmes for this first outing. We didn't know how they were going to break it up. He threw Holmes through the first 5, and then Manaea came in. But Manaea looked good, man. Like,
oh my gosh,
he looked really good.
Yeah. So what I do expect from Sean Manaea moving forward is that Clay Holmes will be limited in the future, right? Like, this was 5 innings of Clay Holmes, 3.1 of Sean Manaea. And I think that might flop. moving forward, because they have expressed, we don't want Clay Holmes throwing as throughout the entire season. This is his first year as a starter, etc. So I actually thought this would be Shamania first and then Clay Holmes. And I was really surprised to see 82 pitches from the Adobe. So I imagine Clay Holmes gets fewer, Shamania gets more. And I mean, 7 out of his 10 outs were strikeouts, which is bonkers. The four-seamer was looking great upstairs. Blake's on blueprints, slider down and inside to right-handers too. Yeah, I can't tell you that you shouldn't have Shamania on a team. You absolutely should.
Yeah, I have him higher than you, but again, we're ranking things differently. I know you, especially when guys are coming off the IL, want to see a few starts before you really kind of see what level they're back to. And I imagine if Manaea is pitching like this, 2 or 3 more starts in, he's going to vault up a little bit.
Yeah, this is a really tough tier for me. It's where the whole list shifts every week. Is around 50. And I don't really know what to do with guys like even Lucas Giolito or Shane Baz, who hasn't had everything working quite as he wants, but all the pieces are now there. And Luis Castillo, who, well, you're going to start him right now, and you should be favoring him over others. At the same time, that cliff could be very dramatic soon, I think, if that four-seamer command just goes away as it has in the past a lot. There's also Cam, who I think is fantastic. It's also, how are the Yankees going to do this? The trade deadline is coming up. What is going to happen there? Will Warren hasn't found his whiffs with secondaries in a long time. And I'm much lower on him now because, well, I'm saying it's there, but it just hasn't for 6-7 games now. And I can't tell you that it will tomorrow all of a sudden. So there are all these extra elements going on with all these pitchers in here, and many of them can soar up and many can fall down pretty quickly.
Yeah. The Cam Schlittler issue, Luis Heel started his rehab assignment, pitched 50 pitches at AA. They said they're not going to rush him back, so you're likely looking at 3 more starts in the minors for Heel. So is that 3 more starts as an audition for Schlittler? Marcus Stroman is taking up the other spot. A potential trade addition is also, potentially in the Yankees rotation mix. But if Schlittler pitches well, they could just DFA Stroman. Like, it's not like he's really that much of an obstacle. I know that you had talked with Paul Sporer about, do they move Heel to the bullpen? As of right now, they've said they don't want to, but not wanting to and not doing it are 2 entirely different things.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the side that I don't think Schlittler has a long run in the rotation right now, but I get that if you are ranking as you do week to week, this is a guy talented enough that you put him on your roster and you see what happens.
Yeah. So a couple things about this. One, Luis Heel, he could just show up into the pen if they feel, okay, hold on a second, you're getting fatigued too quickly during the rehab, or Cam keeps going, and let's say Cam goes 3 more games and he's just phenomenal. Like, how can you possibly remove that from this Yankee rotation? He did go 120 innings last year across the minors, so it's not like he doesn't have any sort of built-up stamina at this point. I also don't think that they bring up Cam just for 2 or 3 games and then move on from him. I really do think that with Cam, who they shot up through the minors, that they mean something to stick around here. And I should mention, Will Warren might get slowed down as the season goes on. So Cam could be that bridge that they need here, especially if they don't get a start at the deadline, which I imagine they will. But let's say this blister all of a sudden becomes a thing for Max Fried. Then it's right there. There are these other possibilities of needing that rotation spot. And at this moment, I would not be worrying about 3 weeks from now. I would just say, look, get Cam and we'll see what happens. We've had so many conversations about, oh man, what's going to happen when in 3 weeks, then when this guy returns, like, you're not going to be able to, but then all of a sudden, bam, nope, that guy got hurt. There we go. There's the opening. This guy has a rotation spot now, right? So don't overthink it at this moment. Get this now, see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And we should also mention, we've messaged about it on Twitter a bunch, but Lucas Giolito has his own potential innings concerns because the Red Sox have a very, very, very affordable option for him for next year if they keep him under 140 innings. Somebody had done the math for us and I messaged it to you, and it was basically like if they skip if he averages 6 starts, if he makes every start the rest of the season and averages 6 innings a start, he will go over his
he'll be
innings.
150, but if they go 5 innings per, he'd reach 136.
Yes.
This is from Red Sox payroll.
Right. So if he goes 5 innings per start, he would go under what the cutoff is. So 5 innings per start is pretty easy to keep him at, or even if he goes 6 innings, a couple starts, and you skip 1 start the rest of the way. Now, again, that's something for people to keep in mind. I don't think that's going to lead to like, hey, he's shut down, but it might lead to like the Red Sox score 6 runs in the first 2 innings of a game where he's pitching, and it's a 7-0 lead, and they're like, cool, you're done after 5.
Right. So the thing is, you don't want to make this a player grievance. You have to, like, if they just shut him down and he's healthy and everything, it's like, come on. Like,
Right.
we know this. So it might be something here and there. He's not going the full 6. It's just, oh, no, you know what? You're pushing it. It was whatever in the 5th inning, and we're just going to stop it, right? So he's still going to pitch.
Right. Also, you have, again, doesn't affect how you're going to use him, but you have a situation where, like, if they decide they're going to give Kyle Harrison some MLB starts, if Tanner Houck's back, it's like, hey, man, you missed all last year. We're going to go 6-man for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden they've like skipped a start by not skipping a start, by adding a starting pitcher for a couple weeks here and there. And so there are things like that I think are likely to happen. I don't think it impacts how you use Giolito or how you roster him, but it's just something to keep an eye on.
It is really shocking that they let him go 7 and 7 2/3. It's like, what? You let him do that? Go over 100 pitches for both of those games? Like, okay. Yeah. I should also note that Giolito does have a tough schedule in the short term here, and I am actually really worried about the Cubs game in Wrigley for him,
as you should be. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's this whole. I hate the fact that I'm mentioned a lot with Giolito. And I don't think of him as the top 30 arm that you just blindly throw in there. Who cares? I see him as the guy he's been kind of as a mix between everything of he's not going to be 1 earned run in 5-start kind of guy. He's more of, hey, look, it's a good fastball, a good changeup, and an improved slider for a team that will let him go 6 innings. And he should have like a 23-24% K rate. What's his ERA? Well, yeah, he's going to have those 4 earned run games. He's going to have that annoying whip game. He's not precise with his 4-seamer right now. His changeup is not getting as many whiffs as we want, but he is still productive. He's someone that should be rostered in a 12-teamer. So that's where we are at the moment. I'm likely going to put him in questionable start, I think, for the Cubs, even though he's been so good. The arsenal hasn't been firing on all cylinders. So be careful.
Yep, I agree with you on that one. We'll move to tier 8, which starts number 52, Reese Olson, number 53, Trevor Rogers, number 54, Landon Rupp, number 55, David Peterson, number 56, Clay Holmes. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
Got a good one for this one, and I'll let you know after this break. So, this is toast.
Okay.
I mean, it's just it's a little bit burnt toast, so it's a Toby tier. It's going to be a little bit brown. But let me tell you, burnt toast, like just nicely, just a little bit. It can be such a good thing. It can also be really bad. You're like, oh my gosh, how could I? This isn't enough. I need more. The toast tier.
Yeah, I get that.
You don't like it.
I like
that was a high pitch.
Peanut butter for me. Is it? I'm a fan of.
That was really high. Yeah. That was. Oh, I don't think I've heard a higher thing from you before.
Well, listen, it's in there. I contain multitudes. It's in there. Landon Rupp, man, 8 strikeouts against the Dodgers since May 1st. Like if you take out just the first rough few starts of the year, it's like a 2.44 ERA in 13 starts. What's interesting to me is like he put up some gaudy strikeout numbers in the minor leagues. And I think these pitch mix changes to combat some of the struggles against lefties have created an arsenal and an approach that is okay with weaker contact and less swing and miss, because the strikeout rates that we saw in the minor leagues have not carried over. but the ratios have been really solid. And so the question kind of becomes like, is this a hitter version of Cam Smith, where you saw Cam Smith struggle out of the gate, and then he said, okay, I'm going to just focus on contact. And Cam Smith started hitting 300 by hitting like 60% ground balls. And then he said, okay, I feel comfortable. Now I'm going to try to lift a little bit more like I used to. And then the power started coming. Is like, I've been thinking a lot about Landon Rupp. What I'm thinking rest of season is like, now that he's starting to establish that he can do this consistently, do we start to see him start to go for those strikeouts a little bit more?
Yeah, I hope so. The curveballs just haven't gone the same whiffs. It's that simple. But the changeup is looking great to left-handers. I also love the fact that he's going upstairs with sinkers. And I think it's just one of those things. This is what development is. You have to keep having the experience to know what to adapt to, what you're comfortable with, what you can do. And I wouldn't be surprised if those strikeout games returned with the curveball feel returning as well. But as of right now, yeah, just stick him in your lineup. The Dodgers are kind of cold at the moment, I do want to mention. So
Fair.
it is something to be said about, oh my gosh, he did great against the Dodgers. Yeah, but they aren't quite the same team as you remember earlier in the season. It's their valley of offensive production. But yeah, Roop, you're just going to throw out there. I mean, same with Trevor Rogers, who I might actually put underneath Roop, but he is locating that four seamer at 94 upstairs, changeup and slider down incredibly well. It's really fun with Trevor Rogers at the moment, and we just hope this keeps going.
Yeah, we talked about it when he made that first start, that like there were some well, the velocity was back. There were some pitch mix changes that were intriguing, and we were going to kind of see what happened, and he's looked pretty good. In the starts afterwards, and I don't see any reason why the Orioles are taking him out of the rotation. So I think he's gonna get a runway to see what he can do. It's not 2021 Trevor Rogers, but we are getting closer to that version than the version we saw the last two seasons.
Yes.
Some news about the guy at the start of tier number 9. It's number 57, Drew Rasmussen. Number 58, Edward Cabrera. Number 59, Ryan Nelson. Number 60, Richard Fitz. And number 61, Yusei Kikuchi. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This one is the snack when you're in a foreign city where everyone just says, hey, this is really good. You should try this. Whatever that is. You've never seen it before. You don't know what it's going to taste like, but everyone just says it's good. So you're just going to jump in here.
You're just going for it.
Just going for it.
Okay. Yeah. Drew Rasmussen up 43 spots because there was a report that there's an expectation, quote unquote. It's a direct quote from Rays manager Kevin Cash, but Kevin Cash said it's an expectation. So it's just their way of like couching that it's not locked in.
Right.
But
I mean, if he goes like 80 pitches in 3 innings, they're not going to let him go 5. Yeah.
The Rays are going to go back to their traditional 5-man rotation that started the year, and Drew Rasmussen will be working in 5-inning stints, blocks, whatever you want to call it. Now, as James Shiano and I were talking about this morning, if you are a 5-and-dive guy, that creates the risk that if you're not as pristine in the start, you become a 3+ and dive guy or a 4 and dive guy or whatever it is. And Rasmussen early in the season had the ability to go 6 or more if he was cruising. It sounds like that's not what he's going to have the flexibility to do, but we don't know. And so there's like this added risk, but we know that Drew Rasmussen is going to start again. And we know that he is not going to be an opener. And so at this point, you have to throw him out there and you have to see what they're going to do with him. And because he's been so good when he's pitching that even if you're getting 5 innings from him, those are going to be 5 good innings with a chance at a win. And so you have to take that.
Right. So actually, as we were talking about this, I already changed this slightly of putting Drew Rasmussen into tier 8, just as like, you just set and forget, and it should be helpful for your teams. That simple. Where Clay Holmes is actually going to be a bit lower as I do think we're going to see some very big frustration with him. So it shouldn't be at 56. He might actually be all the way at 70 or so in the hipster tier, which is what Clay Holmes is going to be. You just don't know what to do anymore with him, as he will be limited. And also, I would say if you give me a per inning basis, I still believe in Drew Rasmussen over Clay Holmes, the Adobe. So
Sure.
that's what I'm going to do with that one. It is very frustrating. And when they say the expectation kind of goes both ways of like, look, let's say Rasmussen is 55 pitches through 5. They might let him go into the 6 if it's a close 1-1 game or something like that. I understand it. And also, you're right. There is that opportunity for Rasmussen to fail you and have too many pitches after 4 innings and not get you that 5th, 100%. So it's why he's at 56, right? It's instead of being in that top 40 Holly tier.
Yeah. So it's so tough to deal with situations like that. Edward Cabrera, I kind of thought like the IL was a given and his season might be over. And now they're saying they got positive news, but we don't really know when he's going to start. So this is a tough one because the expectation is he's not going on the IL, but he could immediately go on the IL. We don't really know. I've been a fan when he's pitching, and I think that we're moving in the right direction. We might not be there, but we're moving in the right direction. We've also both talked about Richard Fitz. Richard Fitz, I don't think was ever going to be out of the rotation. I think he was demoted to AAA because they could before the All-Star break.
Great
but then
tweet by
Dobbins
Eric, by the way.
tore his ACL.
I retweeted that right away. Absolutely, right? Because they have the 10 days. Like, sure, let's just do this because he's, what was it, Wednesday or so? And then they have...
He pitched on Tuesday, yeah.
Yeah. Then they have 2 weeks until it'll start again after the break, so it's perfect.
Yeah. So Fitz is back in the rotation, and we both like the velocity on the fastball, and the secondaries are inconsistent, but they flashed in the last outing. So like if they can, continue to progress in that way or get bet, I think there's interesting upside there. I guess you could argue Tanner Houck and Kyle Harrison are threats to his spot in the rotation, but I don't think those are imminent threats. And Houck is in this limbo where like, even though he doesn't want to be a reliever, he might be better as a reliever. So who knows?
Yeah, it's really hard to tell what the plan is here. The Red Sox are currently 3 out of the AL East.
And they're in the wild card spot. They're in the second wild card spot right now.
So when we kind of thought about this a bit, we're like, all right, we'll see what happens in July, but they might be out of it. So then it might be a situation of they send some guys off all of a sudden, and then there's more spots open. And now it gets much more pressing. So, yeah, I am very curious about what happens here with Fitz. I think the skills are much better than we saw, as we talked about before. And at the very least, he's in this rotation now. We'll see what happens later, but I'd say go after in the short term. And just to finish this one off here with Ryan Nelson, Kikuchi. You say Kikuchi did not look good in those last 2 starts. The pitches were just a little bit off again. And I don't know if I can buy back into those double-digit strikeout games before, but if you want to take the chance, by all means. And Ryan Nelson, at least he's trying to make the cutter the main secondary pitch. He threw over 20 of them in his last start. Well, he hadn't had a secondary pitch over 15 in his previous starts. And I dig that. He just has to locate the four-seamer better, which he traditionally does. He just didn't in that one outing. So I think I'm still in on Ryan Nelson. I recognize that this is still a development period for him. It's not a lock that Nelson is going to be amazing with that four-seamer. So I dropped him down to just inside the top 60.
Yep. Let's go to tier 10. Number 62, Casey Mize. Number 63, Brian Bayo. Number 64, Matthew Liberatore. Number 65, Cade Horton. Number 66, Michael Soroka. Number 67, Michael Wacha. Number 68, Chris Paddock. Number 69, Brady Singer. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
This is the fruit tier. Because, I mean, for me, banana in the morning, amazing. Good apple, great. At the same time, there are a lot of situations, I remember, especially when I was younger, where I wanted a snack and I want something sugary. I want a good snack. And like, we've got fruit. And you go, no, I don't want that. But then eventually I'm like, fine, I'll go with it because it's the Toby tier again. And sometimes you just got to go with these guys.
Bayo up 15 spots.
Yeah.
Another really good outing. He's allowed 2 earned runs or less in 5 of his last 6. He's allowed 3 earned runs or less in his last 8. I blurbed this last night. I watched this whole game. It's a total retooling of a pitcher. He basically was like 78% fastball variation last night. 4-seam, sinker, cutter. He's attacking the zone with those pitches now, which is great because that was the biggest problem with him before, was like just nibbling around the edges with the fastballs. He got 12 swings combined on the sweeper and changeup and 2 whiffs. So we're still seeing inconsistent secondaries that aren't really missing bats and fastball variations that are going to induce a lot of ground balls and some weak contact. And so I think that Bayo there's still upside, whether he reaches it this year or in future years, who knows? But to me, he has kind of emerged as a safer floor, lower ceiling arm who is going to induce weak contact and pitch deeper into games than he used to because of this change to the fastballs, but he doesn't have a real whiff pitch.
Sure sounds like a Toby to me, Eric.
It does.
Oh my gosh. I pretty much agree with that. Good take.
Hey, thanks. Cade Horton's still here, but I know there is a great undulator, but like the idea that Horton is just back and forth and whatever.
It's like different skills show up each game.
Yeah.
And which is exciting because you're a young pitcher. And
sure,
I do think that over time, like Cade Horton's a perfect example of a young arm that has a full season. And then we say, great, that's who he is. And then all of a sudden he isn't that guy. And you go, what? I don't understand. And Cade Horton certainly has the changeup at times, the good locations on his cut 4-seamer, a curveball and a sweeper as well. Really kind of the same breaker that he manipulates really effectively. We've seen each of these just dominate in a game, and he doesn't quite have all the pieces together yet, but that's okay. That's generally something that comes in time. So we're going to reflect on 2025 and say, he's just kind of whatever. It's fine. But I'm probably going to be drafting Cade Horton a bit next year, especially if the defense is still good with the Chicago Cubs, as I could see him as a big 180 inning guy with a 23% plus strikeout rate. Like, this is going to be the Holly that you have in your deeper leagues, I think, in 2026.
I could see that for sure. Obviously, big upside prospect. And Michael Soroka, there's a good discussion about him on the last episode of The Craft, which was between Nick and Paul Sporer. So make sure you go check that out where you listen to The Craft. Paul Sporer is a big Soroka fan, and the underlying metrics like Soroka, the K-BB, the Sierra, all that, there could be a little second half breakout Paul was making the case for. Tier number 11 starts with number 70, Gavin Williams, number 71, Max Scherzer, number 72, Joey Cantillo, number 73, Joe Boyle, number 74, Jansen Junk, number 75, Jacob Lopez. And yeah, that's it. What's the tier called? Why is it called that?
This is the party snack for like a party you don't know, because what's it going to be? I don't know, but like, hey, it's a snack. It should be all right, right? I don't know these people. It could just be all the health food snacks that you're not into. I don't know. Or maybe that's the thing that you want. Maybe it's all almonds. And oh my gosh, I hate almonds. So maybe it's all coconut. Oh, the texture of coconut. No, I don't know. But there is some intrigue and you're curious what you're going to get.
I mean, I like almonds and I like coconut. So
yeah,
whatever.
that's ridiculous.
Almond Joy. Almond Joy is a great thing. Gavin Williams, we've talked about him all the time.
Yeah, you don't know what we're going to get at this point. The command is just now not there. That's the last element, but it was there, but now it's not.
Right.
Max Scherzer's looking
Joey
better.
Cantillo, I will also just tell everybody, listen to the episode with Nick and Paul. They're both fans of his. Swing and miss upside. Cantillo probably has a rotation spot given the Luis L. Ortiz thing until Shane Bieber comes back. Bieber made a rehab start, but that could be a long time. So who knows? Cantillo, some swing and miss upside, but some inconsistency. Joe Boyle, because we don't really know the rotation situation. If he's pitching, it might be good. He might be back to the minors. We have no idea. But Jansen Junk is up a lot of spots for you. Is this, you're starting to believe a little bit?
Okay. So just so we're clear, guys, roster ability to me is there in tier 10 as a Toby that you don't really want. That's like, okay, I guess I got to go with this. I'll go with this. So once you get to tier 11, you get to, oh man, this is, you're trying to find some upside. Tier 12 is all your They drive you up the wall, and it's really just so difficult at this point knowing what you should expect. Then you get into your streamers, essentially, and then you get your even more maddening pitchers, right? So when I think of Jansen Junk, I'm like, I don't really think this is going to work. But he's locating his secondaries well, and his four-seamer does have some vert that can be a good whip pitch too. Like, I watched that game where he had 2 strikeouts, and I'm like, all right. Like, he threw good breaking balls a lot. It was a lot of dancing with the disco and with that curve and that slider, etc. So, sure. Jansen Junk right now, fine. But I don't think this is really the kind of guy that's going to impact your team for the second half.
You heard it here first. Jansen Junk, fine.
He's a junk baller. It's kind of funny, but that's really what it is at this point.
Speaking of junk ballers, there's one here in the middle of tier 12 that is pitching really well of late. But this tier starts with number 76, Jose Soriano. Number 77, Tanner Bybee. Number 78, Kevin Gossman. Number 79, Jose Barrios. Number 80, Charlie Morton. Number 81, Mitch Keller. Number 82, Adrian Hauser. Number 83, Slade Ciccone. Number 84, Zach Littell. What's this tier called and why is it called that?
These are the baked goods that someone brought that they made, and you've picked one up, and you've taken a bite, and you don't like it, but you're like, I guess I'm finishing this thing right now in front of them.
You gotta do it right. Right in front of them too.
That's they're looking at you like, yeah, that's this tier.
It's a tough look to get into that spot. Soriano, you never, again, like kind of like a Gavin Williams-y, you never know what you're going to get. The upside is there, but the guy I was thinking of is Charlie Morton. I wrote about him last week. You've talked about him a bunch. We know Charlie Morton goes as the curveball goes. Since the start of May, the curveball has been just a really dominant pitch, and he has leaned into it. And if you go back to, if you look at the pitch specs, on either on Pitcher List or Alex Chamberlain's pitch leaderboard is a great way to do that. Like, Morton's curveball was a little messy in May. It wasn't like, hey, this is the pitch he's always had and he was getting hit. It was the velocity was different. The shape was different. For whatever reason, he just didn't have his usual curveball, and now he does, and he's pitching really well. The Orioles could flip him at the deadline. It would make sense for them if they did. And look, maybe the curveball fails him again and the results go down. But if the curveball's sticking, you're going to want to use Charlie Morton.
So since May 26th, when he re-entered the rotation, if you remember, he was in the pen for a second there. He has a 2.76 ERA and a 26% K rate with a 130 whip. And with Charlie Morton, it's kind of scary to say, hey, we're going to give him a couple days rest because he has elbow tendonitis.
Right.
So I put him in the Vargas rule category. How I did this entire tier was you have 4 who are hipsters, Soriano, Bybee, Gossman, and Barrios. And then you have 5 who are Vargas ruling right now. That you're just like, if you have them on your teams, I understand if you are just saying, he's been so good, I can't drop him. And that's Charlie Morton, Mitch Keller, Adrian Hauser. The Slade Brigade finally got to me with Ciccone and Zach Littell. Right, Zach Littell actually his last start was not as good, and that might be on the verge of falling. But that's really what we're dealing with at the moment. I don't trust these long term. If I'm doing your rest of season 1, probably not. But yeah, Charlie Morton is doing all right with his curveball at the moment. Fine, you can keep going with that.
Yeah. Slade Ciccone pitching really well of late. Mitch Keller, Adrian Hauser, guys who could be on new teams after the break or after the trade deadline. That could be interesting. Hauser, somebody, kudos to you just for putting it out there that he was pitching well for the Rangers. And, you thought that he was going to get a shot at the rotation and it didn't happen. But he has, even with the Brewers, he had flashes where he was really usable for a while. And so we're just seeing a usable stretch from him and he looks good.
I mean, it's you might be surprised to hear that Adrian Hauser across about 58 innings has a 1.56 ERA. It's nuts. It's pretty hilarious. It's not going to last. There's a lot of good Koufax induced outs. If you don't understand that, that's me saying he has a really low BABIP. Okay, yes. So it's going to change.
We go to the last two tiers here, mostly streamers. Tier number 13, number 85, Eduardo Rodriguez. Number 86, JP Sears. Number 87, Chris Bassett. Number 88, Andrew Heaney. Number 89, Dean Kramer. Number 90, Clayton Kershaw. Who's that guy? Number 91, Jeffrey Springs. Number 92, Brandon Fott. Number 93, Logan Allen. What's this tier called? And why is it called that?
Oh man. Okay. This is whatever you get in the airport. That is honestly something you should never really get. It could be like a Cinnabon, which is so delicious. It could be such a good stream, but man, you should never have that again. Right? Or it could just be one of those things where like, I need something for the plane. Oh God, you look at 20 million options and you just choose something like, oh, why did I do this? This is so ridiculous. I shouldn't have done this. That's this tier.
Yeah, I know that tier. I try to convince myself to just go with the Jamba Juice when I'm in that spot because you usually never feel terrible about yourself. But yeah. Nobody here to really talk about. I'll go to tier number 14. Number 94, Zach Gallen. Number 95, David Festa. Number 96, Lance McCullers Jr. Number 97, Brandon Walter. Number 98, Kumar Rocker. Number 99, Taj Bradley. And number 100, Sandy Alcantara. What's this tier called? Why is it called that?
Oh man, this snack is the seaweed, or it's just, like in your head, you're thinking, yeah, I should be having this. This should be something that is a good snack, and I'm going to do it. But every time you take a bite out of it, you just go, why?
Why did I do that?
Why did I do that?
Yeah, I get it. Zach Allen, 2 great starts, 1 terrible start. It's so interesting, too, that, like, this is what I said this with James Shiano on the Q&A, and I'll say this as the kind of one of the last things, but, like, guys like Gallen who give up a lot of contact and tend to give up hard contact, it's not really about the opponent. It's about them. And you don't know when the good start is going to come and when the bad start's going to come. And so if you're thinking, hey, I'll just stream him, you probably would have streamed him against the White Sox and that would have gone terribly. And you might not have played him against the Giants and the Padres when he pitched great. And then you would have put him in the lineup against the Angels because it's the Angels and that went terribly. And so it's so hard to pinpoint that with Gallen because it's not really about the opponent. Kumar Rocker is somebody I was getting excited about. I'm still excited to keep an eye on him because I do think the cutter is a really good addition for him, but it was very clear in that last outing that it's a nice addition and there's not a lot else and there's still more that needs to be done, but it's cool. And it would be nice. It's like an unfinished house where you see the blueprint, you see the sketch of one of the rooms and you're like, that room's awesome. And that could make the house like a really cool house, but the house isn't finished yet. And I don't know if the rest of the house is going to be a dump or not.
Exactly. And I do want to mention Brandon Walter is in here just because he has Arizona next and you don't want him for that. So I couldn't put him in the streamer stuff, but he could be, he has been a little bit better than a lot of the random guys in the wire. So fine. Like I see this as like, all right, you don't really want to do this right now, but it could be better in the future.
Agreed.
There you go.
We will also try to be better in the future, but I think we were pretty good today. Hopefully you all enjoyed that. We're going to be back next week to talk about the 3 days of starting baseball that we get after the All-Star break. My rankings will come out in the middle of the week over on NBC Sports. So maybe, we'll get to have that kind of discussion or see where we differ. Again, difference between immediate rankings versus rest of season. But we'll get a little more, comparison to discuss there. Hopefully you enjoy a couple days off of baseball and you enjoy the Cape. The rest of you, hopefully you enjoy just a little brief reset. Hopefully enjoy the home run derby tonight. Should be fun. A lot of interesting players. I wish you could enjoy the Futures game on primetime TV, but instead we got that buried on Saturday afternoon, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, Eric, but it's so good to see you.
You too, my friend. I am Eric Samulski, Pelican.
I'm Nick Pollack, the Lion.
And I'm going to go spend 10 minutes trying to buy a snack on the store on the way to pick up my kid from school.